Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across from me is the doctor himself. That's good. That's good. Oh, by the way, how is that doing? Was the water stopped?
My shits are
Is
back
the tap off?
First of all, my shits are back to normal.
We were all concerned.
The faucet is off.
That's great. I mean, off is not good, but
No, it's off.
now it's nothing. I haven't shit in a week.
No, I'm back to normal.
Once a month shits.
I'm back to no, more often than that, but I'm back to normal 2 foot long solid shits.
Are you drinking coffee again?
Decaf.
Okay.
I'm not like totally off caffeine. I'll have the odd like Coke Zero or something.
Sure.
And the odd tea.
Interesting.
But I'm on decaf coffee.
You know the thing
because I drink a lot of coffee through the day, and so it's like if I just make that uncaffeinated, that'll like drastically reduce the amount of caffeine that I'm putting in my body.
You know the thing I saw in a scientific journal this week was that apparently caffeine actually doesn't is not a stimulant. It just like switches off a part of your brain that is like tired.
Oh.
Isn't that interesting?
Interesting.
Yeah. So it doesn't actually count as an actual stimulant.
Well, that's why coffee doesn't make you feel as good as other stuff does.
Well, sure. Yeah. Sugar is, and like...
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, booger sugar.
That's a good nickname.
Well, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're talking about the thing we do every week, which is talking about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like
I thought you were going to land it.
I know you did.
I thought it wasn't going to happen.
Hey, that makes two of us.
I did see the eyes dart a bunch at me and then back to the script. I did notice that.
What?
The fear. It was like palpable. You kind of like a little hiccup, and then it was like, no, I'm too casual. It's pretty funny.
Look, if you want comics, you want Mora, what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. Well, listen.
It's January.
It's January.
What else would you expect?
Did you think I wouldn't fucking hold up my end of the bargain?
Yeah, we were going to maybe do something else.
I snuck it in last week. You were like, oh, just an episode about OMAC. It's like, well, guess who wrote an OMAC run?
Yeah.
Motherfucking Dan DiDio.
But this, we're going whole fucking hog.
Yeah, this whole episode is in fitting with our great January traditions.
Yes, of course. As we do.
Yeah, we're talking about the DC Comics work of Dan Mora, an artist that is really like exploded in popularity over the last couple of years, who's working on a bunch of major titles.
Yeah.
You know, big collaborators too, like working with Mark Waid on both Batman, Superman, World's Finest, and Justice League Unlimited. Dan Mora does a ton of covers. He worked on Absolute Power. Like, he's out there.
DC certainly wants Mora, Dan.
100%. And, I'm a big fan of Dan Mora. I think a lot of people that listen are a big fan of Dan Mora.
Yes.
Are you upset that I didn't, pause more?
Yes!
I said yeah.
Because that's called acknowledgement?
Yeah. What's better when you tell a joke than someone just agreeing flatly?
Yeah, that's great. I'm so happy.
You tell a joke and and the audience just goes, "Yeah."
Oh my God, guys, you need to calm down. I get it. I'm funny.
Listen, I sort of understand comedy.
Yeah, I know. If anything you could say about the two of us is we get it.
Yeah, definitely.
So why don't we get into the questions for this?
Let's do it.
Which means we're beginning with Facebook.
Going to the face in the book. Going to the Facebook.
From Gary Anchetta, who asks, Art Dan...
Not Gary and mozzarella. Not Gary and mozzarella.
Oh, not Gary and Swiss.
No, he's definitely not Gary and Gouda, if you know what I mean.
Oh, it's not Gary and Comte.
Yeah, not Gary and...
Yep.
Burrata.
And not Gary and Havarti.
Not Gary and Feta.
Oh, not...
Although that rhymes.
Oh, fuck, it does.
That's fucking good.
From Gary and Feta.
That's his Greek doppelganger, is Gary and Feta.
My name is Gary and Feta.
He'd be like, I'm Gary and Feta. It's like, I am Gary and Feta.
Yes.
I don't know what a Greek accent is. That was vaguely Dracula, I think.
Yeah, mix Middle Eastern and Italian, and you kind of get it.
Hang on.
Do it.
Sorry, give me the prompt one more time.
Gary and Feta.
No, tell me which ones to mix.
Middle Eastern and Italian.
Gary and Feta.
I mean, that's not that far.
I kind of nailed that.
You kind of fucking got that.
Might not be Greek, but I nailed the prompt.
I think we're saying the same thing.
Yeah. That not since Bruno have I nailed.
Well, I think I fucking got it, and then you came to the same conclusion.
True. Yeah, we both. Yeah, that's true. That's coincidental inspiration.
Yeah, Italian and Middle Eastern is Greek, and Irish and Portuguese is Italian.
Yeah, and this is our TED Talk on ethnic math.
This is how races do.
This is cultural calculus.
Yeah, cultural 101 with Richard and Reed.
Yeah.
Two white guys.
Everyone knows that a Portuguese and an Irish is an Italian.
Yeah.
You may have heard the old proverb that a Portuguese and an Irish is an Italian.
It's the anti-spaghetti equation.
But, hey, how's he holding up in prison? Spaghetti bolognese.
Anyways, Gary asks, as Dan Mora's Santa stories in DC, so are the Santa stories in DC a continuation of Morrison and Mora's Claus stories?
I mean, they're not.
Sure.
So Morrison and Mora worked on a book called Claus. That is kind of like it's sort of like a early kind of like fantasy epic about like him becoming
That's cool.
Santa, but it's got like it's kind of like true fantasy. He's got like a sword and shit. Like,
oh, nice.
Claus, you know,
I like that. I think I've seen that, but I never knew that that's who it was.
I don't think it's the same as the movie called Claus.
No,
that
I don't
is
think
doing
so.
it.
No. But I think I've seen the book
because I haven't seen that movie. But yeah, you probably have seen the book. Around.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool stuff. But yeah, Dan Mora has worked on, I think it's like Batman, Santa Claus, Silent Night.
Oh, sure.
And in that one, like Batman and Santa have like teamed up to fight Krampus and like shit like that, which is really good. It's definitely not a continuation in any sort of like canon story kind of way, but I do love that like Santa Claus. I mean, this is true in Marvel too, just differently, but that Santa Claus canonically exists in DC.
Yes, I do love that.
In Morrison's map of the multiverse, Santa and the North Pole occupy part of Dreamland in the sphere of the gods.
Okay.
Dreamland. Silent Night isn't anything about that. It's about him, fighting Krampus with Batman. But like Dan Mora, I guess you could say he's getting an opportunity to draw a couple of different styles of Santa, right? Because Claus is like kind of like young, jack to shit Santa, and then Silent Night is still like action Santa, but he looks more like the way we see him, like a little chubby, a little older, that kind of thing. So, like, in a way, it's probably a little, like, spiritually for him. It's, like, revisiting some stuff. Yeah. But, it's obviously quite different, I would say.
All right, next question, which means we're leaving Facebook and heading on over to Instagram.
Now we're going to Instagram, take some questions and answer them.
Dukes. He still got it.
Baby.
First question comes...
Oh, fuck.
What? Oh, yeah!
The curse is lifted.
Yes, thank God.
I didn't say Queequam.
Thank God.
Yeah.
From Instagram, Dem Jinkies asks, which character do you think Mora does best? Like, which character is drawn by him when you picture them?
Oh, man. What character do I think he draws best? Yeah, I mean, how familiar are you with, like, Dan Mora's
I know his,
stuff?
like, Batman stuff and his Superman stuff.
Yeah.
I think his Batman is pretty good.
His Batman looks really good.
It's got like that dark and brooding, but like also like gravitas and stuff. And
Yeah, I'll throw out there. I think it's Green Lantern.
okay,
I think it's Hal. The couple of times that he's drawn Hal in like, I mean, certainly in Batman, Superman, World's Finest and stuff like that.
sure.
That feels right to me. Like it's something about like it's so crisp. The other thing.
I mean, that's the thing. His color. I mean, his work with like lines and color and. Yeah.
I mean, the other thing to say is that Dan Mora is not the one coloring all of these.
Sure.
And I do think a big thing that elevates Mora's art is like really vibrant colors. That's not the only way for Mora to draw stuff, but it's certainly been a feature of like kind of mainline DC stuff is to have these really great colors. I think it's Tamara Bonvillain that's been doing the colors. But for me, Hal, it's the crisp lines, like on the mask and, for Green Lantern, the uniform and the constructs. And I think he's taken the place of, some other kind of artists for me there. I would love to just have him draw Green Lantern all the time, I think.
I think I'm going to have to say for me, it's his Superman though.
Superman's great. Yeah.
I fucking love his ability to make him like that. It's almost like a John Hamm kind of Superman. But I also really love, I don't know if this was like a one-off thing or no, I mean, this was a version for a while, but his Superman costume with like the pointed sort of hand pieces.
Yeah.
And like, it almost looks more of like a combat kind of like
his new 52 suit.
Yeah.
Like with the collar and shit.
Yeah. With the collar and like,
yeah.
it like clamps into the suit, the cape and.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then but then it's also got like these like almost like these like pieces on the forearms.
Can you show me the one that you're
sure.
looking at here?
I'll show it to you right now that I'm looking at and I really like. I mean, I think you're right. The like sharpness of his work is definitely the thing, but it's that one right there.
Oh, I mean, that's him drawing the movie suit.
Oh,
that's
sure.
what that is. That's just like an illustration. That's like not even from a comic. That's him drawing the movie suit. Yeah,
I kind of love that.
It looks good. Yeah, for sure.
That's a great one. I also love that S and
100%. His Superman is good, and there was a whole arc in Batman, Superman, World's Finest where they went back to the Kingdom Come universe. Well, went back. It was like the first time they went or something like that because of the chronology of that book a little bit. Because it's like the thing that's great about that book too is it's the early adventures of Superman and Batman.
Yeah.
So it's like Dick Grayson is Robin and like shit like that. Like that's really fun too to go back and put all that. It is kind of a hard question, especially with books like that or Justice League Unlimited, because every time he draws a character, I'm like, fuck, that's a really fuck, that Metamorpho looks good, or like, fuck, Eclipso looks good, or like, like every single time I'm like, God damn it. Like, really, it really works for me.
You know what I think what he is to me? He's almost like a contemporary, modern, and like quality version of Jim Lee.
As soon as you started the sentence, I knew that this was going to be a Jim Lee dig.
Do you want to hear something really funny? I learned about Jim Lee the other day.
Okay. All right.
So,
His real name is Jimothy.
No, okay. Though I have started calling Timothy Chalamet Timmy Chimmy, which I really like.
That's very good.
So apparently, this is hearsay, but that guy that I work with, the plant guy.
Yeah.
So his dad, I don't know if I told you.
Yes.
His dad is the illustrator for our cartoons in our comic in our newspaper. His dad had artwork or a character stolen from him by Jim Lee.
I mean, listen, I'm not saying it's not possible. It does feel like a stretch.
So what had happened is he took Jim Lee's class in like New York or wherever he was a teacher. And as to get into those classes, you have to send in work
some
and stuff
portfolio
like that.
Or whatever.
And he sent in the character of Chameleon from Marvel.
Like the Spider-Man villain?
Yeah.
I mean, You mean just like a blank-faced kind of character?
No, like you had to have like a description of the character
Right.
and what they were and their costume and stuff like that.
Right.
And then he ended up dropping out of that that school, and then a few years later, that character showed up by Jim Lee.
I mean, does he have any proof of that? Because it feels like
No.
if he does, you should do something about
Well,
it.
this is also this guy who wouldn't do that.
Sure.
He's very much just like, well, it's just kind of cool that it happened, which is very much who that guy
Interesting.
is.
Honestly, I think I 47% believe that.
Sure.
I like
It's believable,
it's pretty believable.
but it seems unlikely.
It seems unlikely.
Yeah. But I do like that. And
That's interesting.
And-
And so you were told that and you were like, yeah, I already fucking hate Jim Lee.
yes, it's exactly what I said.
Yeah. I knew I didn't like him for a
You know
reason.
what? It's 'cause I
It
walked-
only took 8 years, but now I found a reason.
You know what's funny? 2 years working at that press at the newspaper, first time I ever actually like looked around in some of the rooms in the press plant, and I saw that there was a bunch of comics, and I was like, "What the fuck are these?" And he was like, "Not like just like posters and stuff."
Oh,
yeah,
fuck.
yeah. Don't worry. I know.
I was going to say like nighttime raid of the
Yeah,
press
yeah.
plant.
No. If you just have to read, I've got keys.
No, it's more fun this way.
Sure. And so that's what I brought up, and then he told me that story, and I was just like, "Oh, that's great," because I fucking hate Jim Lee.
That's so funny.
Anyways, I think he does Superman well.
Interesting.
Next question from Fruits 3,
It's definitely supposed to be fruit snacks.
but it's not. It's 2 C's, so it's like a thick snack.
Yeah, the snacks are thick.
Yeah, it's a snack with 2 C's.
Yeah.
What, in your opinion?
It's like fruit leather, but if it was a brick. That snack is too thick.
Isn't that like what they ate in the fucking the train movie, whatever it's called?
Snowpiercer?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's made of people.
Well, yeah,
and like shit and
yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah,
And like
cockroaches.
bugs, yeah.
Oh, it's made of cockroaches. That's
Yeah,
what it is. Yeah. The thick snack is the brick food from Snowpiercer. That's yeah.
There we go.
Everyone followed along.
We got there.
That was fine.
But yeah. So, what, in your opinion, makes Dan Mora's art so identifiable, and why is it so Why is the pointy bulges?
Dan Mora's art is pointy.
It is, but I think it for the better.
It's
Sporty.
that's a good adjective for it.
You know why I said that? Because remember when we used to do our brand things?
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what that kind of meant.
No, totally. 100%.
Yeah.
Is that pointy?
Yeah.
Sporty means pointy.
Yeah,
100%.
angles and points. Yeah.
It is sporty. It's very kinetic.
Yep.
I think it's very expressive without being detailed.
Yeah.
And I fully
No, I
and
fully
I don't
get what
mean
you're
that
saying.
he doesn't
That he can't
that
do
he
details.
can't do detail, or that he doesn't, but he errs on the side of simplicity. Whereas
Yes.
I see someone like Jim Lee,
Oh.
but also in the camp of people like Jason Fabok, Gary
Sure.
Frank,
Past guests of our podcast artist.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Liam Sharp is detailed to the nth.
Yeah, yeah.
What if I drew 200 leaves on this tree?
Yes.
Kind of detail. But even those other guys that maybe had a more mainstream style, but they're Gary Frank. I think the most identifiable thing about Gary Frank is lines on people's faces.
Sure.
There's just more of those. It's almost sometimes to the point where it ages them unnaturally.
Yeah.
But that's just like distinctive feature. Jason Fabok, it's like the detail of like all the lines of like the fabric. The fabric
yeah.
looks like fabric
Yeah.
in Jason Fabok's stuff, even Jorge Jimenez, I'd say, is detail heavy, but in a similar vein to Dan Mora. They're both very pointy, sporty, glossy kind of looking, but Jorge Jimenez will go like ham on little detail, like maybe over designed.
Sure.
Dan Mora is like
It's a perfect.
it's simplicity, and I think that's why it works so well with books that are trying to channel a more fun,
1,000%.
adventurous, simpler time of comics. But not that the stories are simple, but I think why he's such a good pairing for Mark Waid, why he's so good on Batman Superman's World's Finest, why I'm excited about Justice League Unlimited, these things that are kind of celebratory about comics, is because that simplicity lends itself to not over investigating it. When you add detail to a thing, you invite criticism of its realism, of its verisimilitude. That happens in film, right? You can make The Dark Knight and make it like hyper realistic. And then when you make The Dark Knight Rises and you want to be you want to like paint outside the lines a little bit, people are going to rip it apart because you have invited us to say, I have thought of everything. This is the most real thing ever. And now we're in a movie where Batman had to paint a kerosene bat on a bridge for 4 hours.
Yes.
You know, you invite that and then restrict yourself from being able to play outside of the sandbox a little bit. And when you are more simple in things, that's when you can go like, yeah, but they're having fun. It's fine. Like it's a double standard a little bit, but like you're setting the tone for what the expectation is in terms of, you know, like you go into Batman Superman World's Finest and you don't go, but why wouldn't they just call so-and-so to fix this?
Yeah,
you just go, this is the story. And you go, great.
Yeah.
Whereas a different writer, a different whatever, you'd go like, but does that make sense? And so I think that's for me, that's what's identifiable about Dan Mora. I don't know if you've got maybe different vocabulary for it from your kind of design side.
No, I mean, I do think there's a lot of like movement in his work for sure. I think he feels almost like a +1 of like a house style.
Yeah, that 100%. It's like, it's he's business class.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it's wildly like a specific or like identifiable by him. You can tell that it's by him.
Yeah.
But it does feel like contemporary and in like a style that like we are heading towards. Yeah. And sometimes people go a lot more like minimalistic or people go a lot more in one way or the other. Yeah. And he's just sort of like just above, I think, what like modern house styles are.
Totally.
And so I really appreciate that. But I think for me, it's about this, and I think you said it with kinetic, and I think it's like this movement that is attached to the work, which is, and that personality, which is like just with a small piece of like, I'm going to make his hair look like it's tussling in Superman. It's like, that says a lot.
There's a lot of charm in his art. I think that's the plus part of house style. House style is just like, you know, we needed to do this on the panel and then it does. And it does it on the panel, but it's having fun doing it.
Yeah. There's a bit more personality to it and it's like indicating an approach for this specific story.
I mean, you never really want this because it's like the death of art, but like there is a part of me that's like, I could read every comic drawn by Dan Mora.
Yeah. 100%. I agree.
His style really works for me.
And I think that what's great is that it is really flexible and dynamic. You can go dark or light with it, like if you want to. Like, and I think that's the benefit of it, which is like it really plays in every space. And I think, like, for me, I'm like, I really want to see him do work with Jeff Johns. Like, I really want to see him.
Yeah, actually,
like I want to see what he does with bigger voices or like
I mean, is there a bigger voice than Mark Waid right now?
I mean, that's true. Yeah. But that's the type of things that I would really love to. I mean, I really love to see him with Bendis, to be honest. But
actually, that's probably not a bad match. I don't know if he has done it or not, but I would want to see Dan Mora do Spider-Man.
Yes, I mean that's really what I'm saying when I say Bendis.
Yeah,
because that is my Spider-Man. Is definitely the Bendis Spider-Man for sure. But love it. All right, next question comes from Metropolis Man 713, who asks, which characters would you like to see team up in the Justice League Unlimited run?
So like we said, Dan Mora is working on this new book in this era of the Justice League. So after Absolute Power, everyone gets their powers back, more or less. Some people accidentally got their powers swapped.
Yes.
Some people's powers have come back differently. But more or less, everyone's got their powers back. The Titans had done the job of being the world's protectors, but now the Justice League is back, but it's not just 7 heroes. It's everyone. So the Watchtower is an enormous space station where each of these teams and groups has a wing.
Yeah.
The Justice Society's got a wing. The Teen Titans have a
Which
wing.
you love.
The Doom Patrol's got a wing.
Yeah.
And everyone is there, which I fucking love that so goddamn much.
Yeah.
So the door is really open to a bunch of different team ups. Do you have characters that you think would be fun to have team up, but maybe the asterisks there is, but in particular,
Mora.
knowing that Mora is strong.
Yeah. Because I would want to see the benefit from his approach specifically. Right. I'd love to see like Nightwing and Black Canary.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Mora draws a great Black Canary.
Easy.
And a great Nightwing.
Yeah. I just think that like that. I think those two would be like we don't really see those two ever pair up like
that's like together. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
and so I think but with two acrobatic characters like that.
Yeah, sure.
And with somebody who does so much like movement and stuff like that, I think it would be a really unique sort of like blend of like power and like also this like the grace of the way they move around and stuff.
Right. I think I desperately need Dan Mora to draw just so much Dr. Fate.
Sure.
Like Dr. Fate's costume just rocks so fucking hard.
Yeah.
And I think I desperately need Dr. Fate as part of a team up, but maybe, oh God, who to put him with though? Honestly, this is slight recency bias just because I've been watching all these fucking movies, but let's just do Dr. Fate and Hawkman.
Sure.
Again, like, I think there's so many, like, the angles, the pointiness, like, I think both of them lend themselves to that kind of stuff. But also, then we get the energy of the magic, and we have, like, his kinetic style. I think it's hard sometimes for artists to portray how good Hawkman is at flying.
Yeah.
Like, lots of characters fly. Hawkman, like, is master of flight, like, no one flies better than Hawkman. Some fly faster, some fly further, some fly in space, whatever, but no one's better at it than him. And I think Dan Mora you could almost do like dogfight kind of like
stuff with
Hawkman and that, and I think that would be cool. And to build on the Green Lantern stuff that I think Dr. Fate is just the other side of that. You have to have like energy and glowing and shapes and things folding instead. It's like doing constructs in a way.
Yeah. I mean, I really like to see him go back to like some of that like Detective Comics gothic-y kind of stuff.
Sure.
I mean, Zatanna and like Etrigan or something.
That'd be fun.
That would be really cool.
That would be fun for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
A ton of opportunity. Like,
it is funny with some of these questions because, like sometimes we think of an artist and you just go like, man, their style's like, it's not to pigeonhole them.
Yeah.
Because, these artists are talented. Any of them can draw anything. But even with like our buddy Liam Sharp.
Yeah.
The stuff I like in the Sharp
that plays
the stuff that
better
the stuff that plays better in the Sharp Green Lantern run is not necessarily Green Lantern.
Yeah.
It's all the other
crazy
weird shit, the
yeah.
fantasy shit, a crazy alien, like something opening up. But if you ask me like who draws the best Green Lantern, I wouldn't say Sharp, But with Dan Mora, I kind of go like, it's not necessarily that they'd be the best versions of them, but I just go like, he can like literally draw anything.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because it's that thing you were talking about. It's more of like an accessible style. So maybe that's a given.
Yeah.
That it's easier to picture more characters in it. Whereas like some styles you go like, that works for Swamp Thing, but I wouldn't want to see Aquaman in it. Or,
totally.
Like, there might be something like that to it too.
Well, exactly. Right. Like I don't want like Ryan Choi, the Atom with like Swamp Thing in Liam Sharp's version of it. Right. Like,
yeah. Which, maybe it's just about the specificity of the styles or something, but yeah.
Anyways, next question comes from Luchiman, who asks, what's your favorite run Dan Mora has done?
I mean, I think the answer pretty much has to be Batman Superman World's Finest.
Yeah.
You know, and the writing does a lot of lifting on that, you know, working with Mark Waid. But again, it's so celebratory.
God, it's so fun.
It's so great to be in that, like, that early days. But what I love is it's not early days and then we go like, and there are no other heroes. Like, everyone's fucking there.
Yeah.
Firestorm's there. And, you know, like, it's just, it's so populated. And we have all this kind of fun. Like, Mix's Pitlick shows up and Batmite and Amazo and Eclipso, and we go to fucking Kingdom Come Earth, and we get a secret history of Magog, and like all this kind of shit, and you go like, fuck, man, like all of it, even when it goes to Kingdom Come is not like a happy story.
No.
But their version of it is like still so full of adventure that even though you know where it goes, and even though they play the drama of that, it's like it still feels like celebratory. That book is a masterpiece.
I think it's so rare that we get like ensemble pieces. I think it's more often you get like, even when you're dealing with teams, it's like we do focus in.
Yeah.
And it's like he's really, really great at capturing like groups and things like that, which is rare, to be honest.
Yeah.
As often as we have teams in DC.
No, it's true. And it's funny because I think if I were being critical, I would say the place where Dan Mora maybe falls down a little bit is like faces.
Sure.
I think if you really just look at the faces, they're not that different from each other. Like, you take a lot of cues from things like
costume,
hairstyle, costume, eye color, you know, which every artist does some version of that. But there are some artists that are very talented at faces, and they really give different shape and things like that to a lot of other characters. I would say Dan Mora doesn't really do that.
No, it's a lot of chiseled jawline kind of.
You know, like if you just took Superman's hair and eye color and like maybe chin dimple and then
you're not wrong.
Batman, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're pretty close.
Yeah. Batman grumpy, Superman happy, easy.
But
difference.
maybe that's the thing that makes the ensemble thing easier to do. Is
sure,
like, you know,
they all look apart,
but they're all very like expressive, and you do kind of lean on those other things that you need. Yeah. But yeah, it's got to be Batman Superman. I mean, Mora's done lots of great covers and stuff like that, and some great work on other books, but like nothing really holds a candle to that, I think.
Totally.
And Justice League Unlimited only just started. Like, that one is probably the one that would dethrone it.
Yeah.
If anything, but it's only just started, so it's hard to say.
So we've talked about where he's at now. The Nerd Fonz asks, how do you view Dan Mora's work on his early series, like Once and Future versus current projects like JLU? Personally, I believe Dan utterly crushes absolutely everything he's been a part of. I feel his style thrives more in the fantastical, like when there's intricate armor or various detailed monsters, such as Once and Future. Which is funny. That's actually kind of the opposite of what we've been saying.
Yeah, but I, you know,
not that he can't do detail, but yeah.
But also his version of detail is still different.
Yes.
You know, like
Liam's is different.
Like anything, there's scales of it, right?
Yeah.
You know. Have you read Once and Future?
Yeah.
I really love that book.
Great book.
That book does a lot of stuff that I like, including like, but what if the structure of stories is what reality is? You know, like there's a bunch of shit like that I love about that book. I do think that there's a word that maybe we haven't used yet, but that I think Once and Future does a really good job of, is Dan Mora is good at portraying intensity.
Yes.
Without having to do stuff like action lines. Like,
yeah.
Everything that I just said about him drawing faces, I think is true. And yet, the faces he draws, the way he portrays characters, he's so good at that, like, oh fuck, like eyes wide open, like holy shit. Like, when I read a book that Dan Mora has drawn, I feel the camera movements.
Yeah.
You know, like if it were like those panels where like someone's like fuck, like I feel it zooming. There's something really, so it's not just kinetic in terms of Superman is flying or something. It's also very kinetic in the like the narrative sense,
totally
the storytelling kind of sense of it, Once and Future is great for that kind of shit. It's all through that. Now, of course, there's lots of armors. There's monsters. There's like gnarled antlers.
Eldritch horrors, yeah.
There's all sorts of shit like that in that book. But I would still say it's detailed in that the armors are there. But I wouldn't say his approach to the armor is detail.
Yeah.
There are pieces. There's more pieces than there are on Superman's costume or something like that. So like that is true. We're in a forest that's different than being like in Metropolis.
That's why I like the Zatanna Etrigan like stuff.
I kind of agree in that sense, but I would contend that Mora's strength is simplicity, and even in complicated things, he's stripping them down, right? Yeah, there's a lot of armor and there's a lot of pieces, but he's drawing it way more streamlined or simply than a different artist would. I don't. I think the fantastical thing. I agree, but then you also kind of go like you could flip that, and like, what do we mean by that? It's like, do I think he like? It's not just about the swords and the armor stuff for me. It's the like, how do you convey like a complex idea, you know? And there's complex ideas like, what dimension are we in right now? What does it mean to be in imagination? What does it mean when we like leave a panel and pop back in somewhere else, or stuff like that? I totally take the point of the question, but I don't know that I think he's contained by genre.
No.
At all.
No.
Like Once and Future is terrific.
I think
truly. But also, on a creator-owned book, and maybe this is the other thing, I do think he takes a simplified approach to detailed things, but on a creator-owned book, he probably also just had more time.
Sure. That's probably part of it. But I also think that like he adjusts for the tonality.
Yeah, I think there. Yeah.
Which is like you would ask for more when you're asking of like eldritch shit and stuff like that. Like it begs
all the
detail.
Legendary kind of stuff.
It begs
Beowulf
for extra shit, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're doing like more capes and tights kind of stuff, it doesn't call for that.
He is definitely like even more deliberately being simple when he draws Superman. For sure. Yeah.
Which I think actually plays to the tonality of that character. But anyways, next we are moving on from Instagram and heading over to Reddit,
where everyone's nice, no one's ever mean.
Almost forgot.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
I'm old now.
It happens to us, the best of us.
My wife, the other day was like, "You're middle-aged." And I was like, I am absolutely fucking not. And she said the average age like lifespan is 76, which makes middle-aged 38. And I was like, I'm 37.
Thank you very much. It's a stone's throw, but
once again proving that the most important thing you can be is right.
To you, yeah.
No, generally.
To you.
For everyone.
It's fine. Intelligence is just being able to remember things, right?
No, it's being right.
I don't know if that's the same thing, but Draco Folly asks, would you say his style is closer to a highly stylized Kirby-esque type or closer to a photorealism of David Finch or Alex Maleev?
Again, I don't want people to think that I'm saying he's taking the easy way or that his stuff doesn't have like
I think there's intentionality behind
detail
what he does.
Or complexity, but he streamlines. Things are very like clean, in his designs. I don't think there's a universe where you could describe Kirby's designs as clean.
No.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, Kirby's a fantastic creative. He's made some amazing stuff, but part of what made them stand out was that they're batshit.
Yeah.
Like, the crazy fourth world geometry of things. Like, Kirby is another person who's like look at any face Kirby ever drew. There are more lines on that face. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I don't think there's a universe where you could call Kirby's art simple or clean.
Yeah.
We're definitely not in photorealism.
No.
Like someone like Alex Maleev or, Alex Ross or
Any of the other Alexes.
yeah, pretty much any Alex. Or like not even photorealism, but just like something that isn't like obvious CMYK kind of, comic book art, like Sienkiewicz or like stuff like that. Like we're not Kelly Jones or anything. Like we're not in any of their realms here where even if it's heightened or not realistic, we're going for something a little more photographic, like think of Arkham Asylum, like that book.
Yeah.
Obviously not realism, but going for something that evokes a more photographic kind of look or feel or whatever. We're definitely not doing that shit with Dan Mora. Dan Mora, I think you're right to say he's more in line with,
like Jimenez.
With Jimenez, with
like Koipel.
maybe, maybe, someone like Jim Lee in a different time.
If he was good.
Like something like that.
A less detailed.
Maybe
Jim
I
Lee.
would put I'd put Dan Mora more in league with someone like Phil Hester.
Sure.
Who did that like the whole kind of 90s run on Green Arrow.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Totally.
Hester's style has like very heavy kind of like shadow elements and a little more blocky, like kind of shit like that. But I think they're after something similar. I'd put them in the same kind of camp.
I mean, you have to admit that like there is some inspiration from like hard traveling heroes within World's Finest and stuff. Like there is.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Even just spiritually.
I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't say he's like Kirby or
He's
Maleev
definitely
or
somewhere
like
in the
that.
middle.
Yeah.
I think for sure.
Someone like Bruno Redondo is probably also close to that. Who's the artist on this like Nightwing run with Tom Taylor?
Sure. Yeah.
Bruno Redondo, you could probably also kind of slot roughly in there. Like Redondo we're starting to step away from the Jimenez thing, but like they both are relatively kinetic, relatively simple, relatively clean, vibrant kind of artists. So
yeah,
they're probably in similar kind of zones.
Totally. All right, let's leave Reddit and head over to the Discord.
Fuck.
I feel like if anything, that is the theme song.
Fuck.
Yeah. And then you just choose to do a song.
Right. Right. I could just stop there, but it's like, no.
Yeah, no, I've got to do
I
this.
promised I would do it.
Yeah, which you wouldn't get the off fuck otherwise, so.
It's your scored.
Oh.
Your ducks are what to do.
Oh, I can't tell you who you're docking to.
That's good.
Fuck yeah.
I don't know where that song came from.
I don't either. But I like it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like, that song must be in like a Cialis commercial or something, right? Like that feels like a song they would use for that.
Staring at the blank dock before.
I love that. I think you should leave sketch where it's like one of those like medication commercials.
Oh.
And it cuts to him. He's like, I can finally fight my wife's boyfriend.
Yeah.
It's like, my back doesn't hurt anymore. I can finally get my money back from the Motown Records or like whatever the
so
thing
funny.
is. Yeah.
I love that. From Bisexual Lad, who asks, his redesign of Dick's Robin costume has been celebrated for its updating of an awkward outfit without betraying the classic version's overall look. What bad or outdated costume would you like to see Mora fix next?
Oh, the fucking jumpsuit Black Canary costume.
Wow, you fucking went to Black Canary so fast.
Honestly, it's, but not for the reason you're implying.
Oh, I didn't imply anything.
This is fucked that you would do this to me.
Yeah, could you redesign it and then send it to my wife?
Yeah, it'd be like, or like to like a seamstress or something.
Yeah.
I don't need
that awkward.
I don't
pause.
need to fucking explain myself to you.
Yeah, can you give her one of those Power Girl windows too? Anyways.
Fuck. Yeah, no, I think like jumpsuit Black Canary, that costume like fucking sucks. But I think Dan Mora could like make it feel like era appropriate. You know, like part of the magic of him taking on that like original kind of Robin costume for Batman Superman World's Finest is it's like, yeah, it's part of it. It's just in there. Let's roll with it. You know, let's have some fun. And man, people have had some bad fucking costumes, and that Black Canary one is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
You know, you could put like the leather Wonder Woman, like leather jacket Wonder Woman one.
Oh, sure.
Or
Donna Troy's like Starfield outfit.
Oh, I like that outfit.
Do you?
Oh yeah, I like it. I should say I kind of like the compromise we've settled on, which is just that she has a black and silver outfit with some stars on it.
Sure.
Yeah.
The original Green Lantern.
Oh yeah. I mean, Dan Mora's Alan Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, maybe like Al Pratt, like the Golden Age Atom.
Sure.
That's a weird costume. The yellow shirt, like it's not a shirt, it's like yellow shirt and like it's like a unitard, but it's a short one.
Yeah.
With a deep V, and then he has a full face blue mask and blue cape.
Wild.
That's maybe the worst costume in all of comics. And he has to share a table with Dr. Fate with the best costume in all of comics.
Fucking truly. Black Lightning's disco outfit.
Ooh, yeah. You know, I think it'd be easy to throw stuff like Jared Stevens' Fate, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, in there,
yeah.
But like, yeah.
Yeah, that would be fucking wild. The Azrael's Nightfall armor.
Yeah, that Nightfall armor is...
Or the 80s gold.
The Nightfall armor came back in the fucking Rom V shit, you know, like in the Gotham Nocturne or whatever.
80s booster gold.
Oh, you mean like when he had like the kind of like mech suit
yeah.
Like, that's a bad look. Yeah.
Lots of good opportunities there.
100%, yeah.
All right, next from the Moral Compass of the Doc Scored, who asks, if you were to place his art style on a spectrum between American, European, Japanese styles of art, where would you place Dan Mora? More fundamentally, how would you describe a pure American style of art?
I might throw that like last half to you because I feel like I don't have the vocabulary.
Sure.
I feel like if I looked at it, I'd be like American, but I don't know that I can. I don't know that I can.
One guy's got a pitchfork, woman's got a.
Yeah, I don't think I could articulate it though.
Sure.
Yeah. Like what would you describe as like an American style, especially when we're talking about things like graphic art, like sequential comics and stuff like that? How would you describe an American style? Because I think I can also picture a European style. I've got a relative. Although, you know, that ranges, you know.
Yeah. It's got a tuft of yellow hair.
Are you talking Bond Designate, like Belgian shit? Yeah. Or are you talking like Dread? You know,
sure.
like Liam Sharp, you know, like that kind of shit.
Well, I mean, it is funny because there's definitely Japanese influence on what he's doing with Dan Mora. Like, 100%.
Absolutely.
Huge anime.
Him and Jorge Jimenez, I would say, are maybe the closest to drawing manga.
But you know what's funny is that I would also say that, like, I mean, Jimenez, I think, leans slightly more American. And I think that's mostly just because he comes from an earlier generation. And I think he has more...
I mean, Jimenez is young too, though.
Younger, I think, but...
it's not Phil Jimenez. It's Jorge Jimenez.
Sorry, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But, I mean, the ironic thing is that, like, I think that Jim Lee created a lot of what is, like, traditional, like... at least for like Silver Age, like modern, like contemporary works. like a lot of what that American style is. That like over
certainly the modern style.
Yeah, like those like exaggerated anatomy kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Is like the musculature. All that stuff is very like American sort of like elements.
I mean,
I
Jason Fabok feels like a really good embodiment of that.
Totally.
Because that's the version where you're doing all of the musculature stuff, but you're not making up new muscles.
Yes.
Like Jim Lee kind of bleeds into like all that other kind of 90s stuff.
1,000%.
But Jason Fabok is just like, he's almost drawing like paintings, but they're very like muscly.
Yes.
Jason Fabok feels like very much on the American end of the
American
spectrum.
style is really more about posing than it is about like movement, and I think that's where the Japanese
That's a good
style
way to put
is.
it. Yeah.
The Japanese style is a lot more about like that dynamic like fight scenes that you see in like manga. A lot more that like kinetic sort of energy. I think that his attention to like details with like costume designs and like and things like that with Once and Future, or you definitely get like some of that like Bleach sort of like Berserk kind of like anime stuff within a lot of that with like Once and Future for sure. I think he's evolved and become a little bit more contemporary with his work, but
I think I just as someone that like with like basically like no manga experience.
No.
I feel like no, that's hentai. I feel like Jorge Jimenez, for me, feels more Japanese.
Yeah,
because it's even more angular, and I feel like we like something about the proportions, how would we put it, like the camera placement in panels.
Yeah.
Like Jorge Jimenez will do a lot of like, it's like a high corner angle shot or a low corner angle shot. Stuff that feels like it elongates figures and makes it look, like, whereas Dan Mora, as much as I do think you get the kinetic sense out of Dan Mora, it's also like, we're putting the camera here. Like we're not doing a lot of like look up, look down. Like Jorge Jimenez really fucks with like, where are we looking at them in each panel? I feel like Dan Mora doesn't really do that, but you still get the sense of movement and flow. And for me, I don't know if that's like, if it's right or not, but for me, that makes Jimenez feel more Japanese.
Yeah, 100%. I think,
because I think I'm thinking of like in like Dragon Ball or something, if someone's like charging up, you have that kind of zoomed thing. And I feel like we don't really get that out of Mora. We get that out of Jimenez. Like all those shots, like that whole Batman run with that Jimenez was on through Fear State and all that kind of shit. Like that is all these kind of like crazy angles, and it really, if it was animated, it would feel really like insane. If Dan Mora was animated, it would feel like it was really good regular animation.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I mean. And I don't mean that as a knock at all, but I just, that's my feeling about it. I don't know if that actually tracks with what is Japanese art versus American art, but intuitively, that's how I've landed on them.
Well, yeah. And I think that I would say like European style really like, I mean, goes back to like our buddy,
Sure.
That it's really about like that.
I mean, he worked on 2000 AD, right?
Yeah. I think that European style typically comes from that sort of like
Death's Head. Yeah.
Like slower but like hyper detailed like environments.
Yeah.
Which I find tends to come with a lot of that kind of stuff.
Atmospheric.
Yeah. Like I think that's a lot more of what you're going to get with that with European style, and it's definitely influenced by American for sure, but I think you're getting a lot more sort of that atmospheric sort of environmental but like hyper detailed sort of like slower comic styles, which is I think indicative of that sort of like society as well, which is like a bit more slower paced,
right,
but atmospheric.
There's probably dozens of doctoral theses written about exactly this.
Yeah, but they fucking asked us, so.
But they asked us, so that's your problem.
Yeah, you're getting this version of it.
Yeah.
Which is I thought about it and said it.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say what is Japanese, whether or not it's true.
I do love you backpedaling as soon as you realize that you're making wild statements. I thought you were just right.
I'll tell you what's Japanese.
Uh-oh.
Camera movement.
Yeah, this is you in Tokyo next month or whatever.
Yeah, let me tell you what's Japanese.
Yeah. I'll teach you a thing or two.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Comes from, what were you going to say?
No, I'm not doing it.
What? Oh, were you going to do your Japanese?
I'm not doing it.
You talk about basketball in the hotel?
Basketball hotel?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Fuck. Watashi no passporto doku desu ka?
I did see a thing.
Oh no, watashi no passporto wa doku desu ka?
Oh, there you go.
Where is my passport?
Hey, you fucking rube.
I fixed it. I was right ultimately.
Ultimately, sure. Yeah, we're all right ultimately.
That's not true.
Yeah, well,
Lots of people die wrong.
It's on your fucking tombstone.
Yeah, lots of people die wrong.
Yeah, not
I
me.
was right ultimately.
Yeah. In the end.
Yeah.
I did see a thing on TikTok the other day that was talking about they were speaking English words to Japanese people and then doing it with an accent. And they were like,
I think you said
yeah. And it's like they ultimately want you to do it because it's easier to understand.
It made me feel better.
It also made me think.
Well, because, I shouldn't just go basketball.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like that, I mean, that is just the word. But I think if you were using an English word, they would understand it more if you were using an accent.
Yeah.
And I think what's ironic is that if for us to do that, it feels racist.
100%.
But what's ironic is that like when other cultures come here and do that,
you try to speak with an accent.
Yeah, we're like, hey, that guy sounds pretty legit.
It's totally true. It's totally like a head thing.
It's totally about your intentionality, I think. But
yeah,
if you're like trying to,
if you're like that German food commercial that we saw,
Or if you ever seen the clips from the Bad Friends podcast?
Oh yeah.
All of the stuff with like Bobby's mom and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Anyways, next question comes to us from Only Just Dan Dunn, who asks, do you prefer Dan Mora style bulky utility belt that you can see the tools, or a more slick belt?
I prefer a bulky belt.
I do think that's the version that we're going to get from James Gunn in the next one too.
There's a problem that I had. I mean, this is being nitpicky, but again, you sort of invite nitpicky in the Dark Knight.
Yeah,
is that belt is too sleek.
Yeah,
I know they go to the trouble of being like, look, a compartment's in it. You put stuff in it, but really think of what Batman has to have.
Yeah.
And think of like scenes where he has extra tech and they make a big show of the extra, like, here's this gun he puts together that shoots these glue bombs, and you go, that's a real Batman gadget. Where does that go? And they go like,
somewhere.
It's kind of like hidden under his cape, but he's got these big 2 fucking fanny packs on his back or some shit. Like a bulky belt doesn't necessarily solve for something that big, but
it does make it slightly more plausible.
In your head, you go, he's carrying shit.
Yes.
You kind of just roll, roll with it a little.
It makes the unbelievable thing slightly more believable.
You meet halfway, right? Like, that's what you're like, well, I will pretend that an entire rifle fit in his belt.
Yes.
If you pretend that his belt has any pockets at all.
Yes. That he's holding something bigger than a coin.
That's kind of where I'm at with it. So I'm all for a bulky utility belt.
Yeah, I don't want him just to look like he's holding watch batteries. Like,
yeah.
That would be great. I agree. I think bulky's better, to be honest.
That's my feeling about it.
Yeah, within reason, but yeah.
Even Batman the Animated Series, like that belt has very clear like box. Like they're not like, he's not wearing like satchels. Like they're not like
Yeah.
But like it definitely does the job of implying things.
I do think that is from like the images that he's shared, it looks like that is
what from Creature Commandos, like the one silhouette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyways, let's go to the next question.
Okay.
From the marvelous Ryan, who asks, if you could replace one classic story's art with Dan Mora art instead, what story's art would you replace?
Ooh.
Example, I think Year One. I don't know if that's a classic story, but
I mean, it's a very loved story.
no, I know, but like it feels too new to be.
Year One, it came out like 30 years ago.
I'm gonna jump off a cliff.
Yeah.
Would look awesome with more art on it, as much as I love the original art.
Or 25 years ago or something. Still long enough, I would say.
Is it pre or post 9/11?
Pre?
Maybe. Yeah.
I honestly, at this point, I should just go, I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Hey, wow. The Dr. DC podcast. I don't fucking know.
Hell yeah. That's on my tombstone.
I am right, but I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I was right ultimately. I don't fucking know. Yeah, okay.
Sure.
What's a classic story that you would want to see in Dan Mora's art style? I actually find this difficult because it's really hard to extricate the art from the story and what made it classic. Like, if it had never existed and Dan Mora did it, would I still like the story as much? Maybe, but it's really hard for me to look back at, like, you know, the anatomy lesson and go like,
no, I mean,
that's a bad example,
Yeah.
but you know, like it's hard to look back at something like that and then go like, but I would love to see Dan Mora do it because it, like, to me, it's the story and the art at the same time. It's really hard to separate that.
Sure.
But God damn it, I'll do my damnedest. I'll throw a weird one out there. I'll go back to the 70s.
Sure.
Death of a Prince, the Aquaman arc.
Oh.
Where Black Manta kills the baby.
Yep.
I think that one, I think Aquaman and the world of Under the Water
Yep.
would totally, I think you'd get better action out of the struggle against Black Manta.
Yeah.
I did one that it's a good story. The art's good in it, but it's just a little static.
Yeah.
So that's one I would throw out there. Death of a Prince.
You know what would be good is the Flash of Two Worlds.
Oh shit. Yeah.
I would love to see him do, especially like the he could really do that contrast between Jay and Barry.
Right.
And like I think his styles would work so well.
Flash of Two Worlds is an interesting one.
One you might like. Any of the Metal Men I think would be interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
Not really a classic story, but
yeah, those classics. Remember that time the Plutonium Man?
What about like the Great Darkness saga, like the fucking
Yeah, that would probably benefit from a little bit more intensity.
Yeah.
That's not a bad one to throw in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, similarly, you could say some of those like weird post-crisis events like Millennium or Legends or
Sure,
Invasion,
yeah.
like some of those maybe. Those are ones where I don't think the art's really the thing I'm there for.
Yeah.
0 Hour, I might even throw out there. I think Dan Mora on 0 Hour would be crazy shit. I think that would be good.
You know where the art's the problem? The Judas Contract.
Yeah, you're always saying that's your only problem with it.
Yeah. Really emphasize the only.
Yeah, the writing was really onto something, is what you say. Yeah.
I said I couldn't get away with what the art does in this.
Yeah,
but
this artist didn't understand what the writer was trying to do. You say it a lot, actually.
Yeah. The art's really in the story.
There's kind of a reason we're not doing live shows anytime soon. So.
It's because I keep trying to get Grummet on.
Yeah. For Grumgust.
What, fuck.
Save it for Grumgust.
Fuck. Everybody prepare for Grumgust.
Yeah.
That's when we'll get him on. All right.
Would you be a guest on Grumgust? You're like, what the fuck is Grumgust? It's a month of whether or not you're good.
Yeah. Look, we're leaning towards not, but you could change the tide.
Yeah. debate me.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear all of the reasons you said, but look at you.
It is funny. That is one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm like really confronting some prejudice here. It's like,
But it's fine.
I see like a thin 60-year-old guy with
Like thinning hair and like
with a white ponytail, and I go like, he might have voted for Trump.
He's got opinions.
For no reason.
No.
At all.
And he's general, like,
I do
demeanor.
kind of love the lore of this where you're like, I feel like he's bad, but we have no evidence.
Zero. But you know what? The fucking hit ratio in DC.
Honestly, the fucking gaming stuff is so bad. It's so bad.
May as well just assume. Yeah, guilty until proven innocent.
Could you imagine if this is like the one time where you like
he's like a great.
Yeah, you like he built a bunch of fucking homes.
Yeah, he paid
like,
for Rosa Parks' apartment.
Yeah, it's like the pizza.
It's the Little Caesar CEO.
The Little Caesar CEO. Yeah. I mean, God, insane lore there.
Oh no, 1,000%. Love it. All right. So, last question.
Good pause.
That's good. That's great. We're good at this.
We haven't had a pause that long since I was thinking about that Black Canary costume.
From a butt, who asks, oh wow, full circle.
This whole thing was for you, but
yeah. From beginning to end.
You know what I call full circle? It's when I'm taking one of my big ass shits. I've got a full circle.
Coils
right
the
now.
whole fucking bowl.
Oh no, I just meant like in my body. I have a full circle.
Oh,
my circle is full.
Oh, what?
Like my
asshole?
Anus.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I thought you meant like because it coils all the way
No,
around.
my circle.
Stop calling it that.
My flower.
No, go back to calling it a circle. Yeah, when you die and you say rosebud, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. That's funny. Citizen Anus.
Citizen Canis.
That's it.
Yeah. That's
no, sorry, hang on. I have one more. I have one more alt.
Please.
Citizen Canal.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
That's what we got it.
Yeah. Because it's his last birthday.
Yeah. Rosebud.
My Rosebud.
Nice.
He dies. Nice.
Which Dan writer would you pair Mora with?
Oh shit!
For the perfect Dan comic.
Yo,
as we figure out what
I just want Dan, and then go DC Wiki.
Sure,
let's see who comes up. Oh no, there's a bunch of fictional characters.
Oh no! I mean, Jurgens.
Yeah, Jurgens is
probably the best.
Yeah. I mean, if you do like, especially to your point, if you do Booster Gold, you might as well.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But like, I think like classic and modern sort of like really works for that. I think emotional depth and stuff.
Just so that everyone has to think about him every episode, I'm gonna say Didio, but specifically on things like the Metal Men, like Didio kind of shit.
Sure.
Phantom Stranger, the Metal Men.
Sure.
Metal Men specifically, I think. Like, think of like all that, like the Metal Men were already so angular.
Yeah.
Things like that. The exciting adventures of them like changing shape.
That would be really fun. I mean, there's a redesign that it deserves. Like
Mora doing the Metal Men, I think. Would be good.
I mean, you could get your Aquaman and do like Abnett or something.
Dan Abnett. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. End of list.
Yeah, those are the Dans.
Yeah,
these are the Dans I know.
These are the Dans I. That's such a specific reference. The fucking SCTV. These are the names I know.
Yeah.
These are the names I know.
What,
the one that the one that sticks out of my head is like David Bourne. I hardly know him.
Oh my God! Yes.
These are the names I know.
I know.
These are the names I know.
So good. Yeah.
I can't believe. I don't think this is the wrong way. I can't believe you spit that out. That feels like a thing I would spit out.
Yeah, I don't know.
That just Did we just become best friends?
Just?
Just.
What the fuck?
Well,
How does that change our relationship?
well, now we're best friends.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
I don't know. I mean, like, functionally.
Do I have to open my rosebud to you?
Yeah, your circle. You're about to have a full circle.
I'm going to circle the wagons, if you know what I mean.
Oh, my God. Hey, go Bills.
Holy shit. We did it.
We did it, baby. January is going strong.
So strong until next week. Because I won't be here. But
Sorry, do you think the podcast gets worse when you're not here?
yes. Yes. Otherwise, well, then I don't want to do it anymore.
Don't be like this.
If it's worse when I'm not around.
Don't be like this.
If it's not worse when I'm not around, then why am I doing it?
Because we're best friends now.
Oh, so now I have to? What have I been doing all these years?
I don't know. You're the fucking sucker.
Fuck. Fuck, am I the one who got conned?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Fuck. I always thought I was the one.
Yeah, it was me the whole time.
Oh my God.
It was me, Barry.
Holy shit.
Yeah, no coupons came out. I think we're out of coupons, right?
I don't know. Are we?
It worries me because I don't remember what is still out there.
I know.
Yeah.
I know you don't.
Yeah.
Look,
I'm sure it's awful.
we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
It's for 3 more years, and then I'll pull one out again.
Yeah.
There was no date on those, so
Yeah. It's almost like I made them quickly.
to try to get you to stay. Yeah, the way that every good romantic gesture is quickly made.
Yes.
So you won't leave.
Yes. Are you not seeing the pattern?
It's about the intention, not the effort.
That's certainly what I've been leaning on.
I didn't try hard, but I meant it.
Yeah. And that's
Don't
you're
judge
right.
by the effort, but
but by my intention.
but by what I'm saying and not what I did.
You know what they say, the road to hell is paved with effort.
If you can't hit the moon, you can look at the
Yeah,
stars.
don't shoot at the moon and you can still look at the stars.
Well, we'd love to hear from you residents. You can send in more Dan questions.
Oh, yeah. Send us all your goddamn questions.
Oh my God. Yeah, the Dan is going to break and we'll have
my
a
God.
levy of questions.
That's,
Because next week's episode's about Dan Levy. No,
yeah. Oh, my God.
we were talking Schitt's Creek. And the British Bake Off season that he did.
Was it the British Bake Off or the Canadian Bake Off?
Canadian
one?
Bake Off.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Canadian British Bake Off.
Yeah. Fuck, we're part of the empire again.
Well, I always knew it.
They snuck in the Bake Off.
Yeah. Fucking we thought you did it, Trudeau, but
You know, like when we have these things because we still have the king.
yes.
Is that like there are things get the royal designation? Like we have the Royal Canadian Navy, for
Yes.
example, or the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Yes.
It would be funny to get that given to a stupid reality show.
Oh.
Like the Royal Canadian Baking Challenge time.
The Royal Canadian Podcast Awards.
Royal Canadian Jeopardy. Like I think that would be really funny to go to the trouble of getting like some kind of
Royal designation.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk to the we have to make the Royal
The
Canadian
Royal Canadian Podcast Awards is good.
Yeah, we got to get them to do it.
I would love to hear Charles be like, oh, you've done excellent work with Cum Man this year. That would be so fucking funny.
You're Sir Come Man now.
Yes. And for that, we're awarding you OBE,
What?
like an Order of the British Empire.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Is that what Obi Trice means?
Yes. Because you got it 3 times.
You're 3 times the Order of the British.
That's not like the Ewan McGregor's brother is like a Royal Air Force pilot, and his call sign is Obi-2.
Fuck.
So now we got Obi-Wan, Obi-2, and Obi-Trice.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait, there's Obi-1 and Obi-2?
Obi-Wan.
Yeah, that's cool.
I feel like you didn't get the joke, and then you were trying to cover it, but it made it sound even more like you didn't get it.
But I got it now.
Okay.
I got it.
Sure.
Because I'm right.
Right.
So anyways, we got a Patreon.
Brand new year, brand new Patreon. Patreon.com/editpoint. By the end of this month, the full back catalog of the Double Dose will be on there.
Sure.
All of the Bunker Report, the bonus episodes we were doing over just on the Ghostfaces Patreon are there. But now you wanted more. Our new Patreon
right,
series is there. At the higher tier, you still get your bonus rewatch series, your Toretto talks, your DC review, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, you might be asking yourself, hey, if you do another episode in a line of a theme of episodes that you've been doing, are we going to have to go back to the beginning?
No, don't worry.
No.
You wanted more. Number 1 is 20 questions 7. Don't worry. It's still Personal Confessions month, and we have not broken stride.
Honestly, it was that really is what like won me over.
Like Richard made the point on that bonus episode that like this is our new 52, where it's like we're starting over, but only when we want to.
Yeah, exactly. Some things are continuing.
20 questions is Green Lantern, and we're just plowing right ahead.
Yeah, if you don't know the lore, go back and figure it out yourself.
Yeah. Oh, you wanted more number 1, 20 questions 7. That is. Oh, God. We're doing some of our best work.
It's truly. I think we've never become more a DC Comics podcast.
But yeah, that's our new Patreon. So by the end of the month, the old Dr. DC Patreon and the old Ghostfacers Patreon are going to be shut down. So go head on over there, sign up. I would recommend you sign up in browser, not in the app, because Apple will tack on extra fees and shit.
Do they?
They do, which blows.
What the fuck?
But yeah, so if you sign up in the browser, though, you'll just pay our fees.
Yeah. Those are the good ones.
Yeah, pay the good fees is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. That's what we like.
Yeah, pay good fees, not bad fees.
Yeah.
There are fees on both sides.
Yeah, and if you want, send us fees pics.
Yes, yeah. I'm going to go to Wiki Fees.
Yeah, you just pay. You don't actually get anything, but you learn about your payment.
Yeah.
There's a lot of description. It's like a Ticketmaster purchase.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
You don't really get much, but there's a lot of descriptions of what you paid for.
Yeah, so hopefully that was a good sell. Patreon.com/editpoint.
That's right. And that is it for this week.
Adios.
Ciao.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.